As the music gets silenced, I erupt. What's going on, everybody? How are you? I tell you what, it's going to be another broadcast of the Fast Family League Showdown tonight. It's the end of round two. Some people say good luck, good riddance to to the road courses. Glad they're in the rear view, and we're looking forward now to the super speedways. Daytona and Talladega, me personally, a lot of y'all know how I feel about that. Would have liked to see maybe a little bit of Auto Club, a little bit of Michigan mixed in with that. But nope, we are going to stick with the traditional Daytona 500, that is. And we're going to mix it up a little bit with Talladega. More about that here in just a little bit. But for now, I'm going to introduce you to your two series runners. You got old Slide Job in here, as well as the one and only Four Tough Slide Job. Four Tough, your commissioners. Gentlemen, how are you tonight?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Pete?
I
Doing
am
good, doing
excited
good.
about this. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for the first race to be called right now. Who am I calling it with? Yeah, let's go.
Absolutely, and really what it came down to as far as picking, super speedway tracks, it was give the people what they want. I mean, everybody likes to go fast and tame the big tracks, but at the end of the day, what's better than a good old fashioned Daytona or Talladega race? I think it's one of the first that, at least a lot of people that I've talked to race when they first get acquainted to NASCAR games. It's more of the easier to drive, harder to master kind of thing, and it's really fun. But speaking about the road course round, what a round it was! It challenged the drivers in ways that we imagined and couldn't even imagine. I mean, we even had the servers adding new challenges, but
Yes, it did.
we saw some things that we expected, some things we didn't expect. So it was a blast. I definitely enjoyed it and can't wait to see what the next round brings.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely a round of big issues with the servers and some surprises. But when you talk about the super speedways and those two, being wide open, we're going to talk about that a whole lot more during the streams, because believe it or not, for those that don't know, or maybe some that don't and do the wrong thing, there's actually a whole lot of lifting around those tracks, more than there is anybody just flat on the gas. Usually the only person that's doing that is your leader, and that's, he's a sitting duck. But as far as the differences between the two tracks, to me anyway, Daytona, I don't want to be there, because going through the corners, it seems like the apron bites you a little bit more than it does at Talladega. The corners are round, and then they kind of square off a little bit, and then the round, they kind of square off. You have to be up on the wheel the entire time, where Talladega, if you can find that nice little point in your wheel or in your controller where you're able to hug that yellow line, you can really turn some very fast laps, and I think that's really where the guys with the wheels are going to prevail in round three. Ford Tough, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I think those controller guys, we're gonna see a lot of oops down low and pull a
Of
slide
course.
job on you.
I knew
That
he was
slide
gonna
Yeah,
job.
have to bring that up sometime.
what? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the wheels will benefit a lot more than controllers. You can hold a better line. You don't have the back and forth, so you don't have to worry about clipping somebody's nose on a wheel because you're not doing that back and forth. But yeah, I agree. The wheels will benefit from the controllers just a little bit, in my opinion. Some others might not share that same opinion, but that's
Absolutely,
what I
Pete.
think.
You mentioned a really good point too. What a difference between rounds. I mean, we saw a track where drivers were going 30, 50, even 70 miles an hour in a corner, to a track where we're going to see speeds upwards of over 200 miles an hour. So you can't get any different than that. No more right corners and all left now. And yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. But for me, I want Daytona, and I'll tell you why. Because think about it, Daytona 500, crown jewel race, one of the most historic tracks in NASCAR. We we've seen in real NASCAR how special it is to win at that track, and what better way to do it on this stage. I mean, we're not doing the Coke Zero 400. We're doing the Daytona 500 in the day, and it's going to be a blast. So, it's definitely more difficult for sure. You mentioned some of the differences between the two, but I'm taking Daytona.
Ford, you right there as well?
No, I'm thinking Talladega. Talladega, you can get faster
Opposite
speeds.
sides of the spectrum. I like it.
Oh yeah, oh yes. Definitely. That is a multi-track surface. So therefore, you can get 3 lines of good racing. If everybody can hold their line correctly, and everybody's going to be your buddy until that last lap. If your teammates are not available, so you're going to work with whoever you want to, even on both tracks. But yeah, I think I'm taking Talladega. I think it's going to be a 50-50. Some people love Daytona, some people love Talladega.
That's a good
E-
question too. It just made me think of Pete. You
yep.
know, if you're a driver on say a big team, and you think that maybe you were underlooked in the past couple rounds. Maybe some of your other teammates were stealing the show a little bit, and you want to just get your name out there and say, listen, I'm a big face in this team. You know, what are you gonna do at the end? Say you're in position where, you could help some of your teammates get a few more points or take the win. What are you gonna do?
At Daytona and Talladega, I don't think there's much that you're going to be able to do because you can't go below the yellow line and move the person up that's holding you back. All you can really do is hope to maybe ride the brake a little bit, get a great run on the guy in front of you, and then if it winds up that you got a bunch of your teammates behind you, let's say let's say best case scenario, it's 10 on 10. There's 10 people on one team in front of you, and you got your 9 other teammates right behind you. You drag the brake a little bit. You hold on to that bottom line best you can. Halfway down the backstretch, set up the slingshot coming off 3 and 4 or 1 and 2, and you try to just pull that train around the high side. I think that's going to make for a whole lot of great racing if they get that racy. Again, points are big on the line here, and these two tracks are the great equalizers. I mean, whoever can play chess the best is gonna get it. But again, it's not about one person winning. It's about your entire team winning. I think this could be the closest on points we've seen between 1, 2. I think 3 is going to be the magic number. And when you're talking about Daytona and Talladega, it's Earnhardt. No matter what track you like, it's all Earnhardt country. Daytona and Talladega famous for it. Will we see a lot of the Earnhardt line, or will we see a lot of the whole, the bottom feeding? I'm excited for it all, man. I think I've stated that
Absolutely.
already. And I don't know if you can tell in
Oh,
the tone of my voice, but yeah, I'm ready to go.
oh yeah, we're definitely excited, and we're going to be talking about this all week. But before we get too ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
we just finished an amazing round two. A bunch of fantastic driving, 6 tough courses. I mean, some of these tracks, some of these drivers have, maybe even never taken a cup car on, or have raced only a few times, not tracks that they're used to seeing in their daily racing. So, they did a fantastic job overall. I mean, we saw some really crazy competitive battles, and having 20 cars on some of these tracks, you'll see some tight scenarios as you watch these clips that we're about to see, where you see just a bunch of drivers in very little space, not very much place to go, and they all pretty much get where they need to go. So, without further ado, let's take a look at some highlights from round two.
We can absolutely do that. Got them queued up. Ladies and gents, take a look at what you did in round two, and we'll be back on the flip side. Enjoy.
And here we go. Round two, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's showtime in New York. We only got a crash at the start. The 3 car around, the 8 around. That's Hound Dog and Black Hammer. You got the one of Hydra as well. So 3 ENEA cars involved already. They come out the 90 into the S's for the first time tonight. Shotgun with a good start. Back in second, it's that 88 of E-Dog. Here they go up through those swooping S's. Third spot, it's Conman. On fourth position, I believe it's the 4 of Deplorable Me as we go into the back straightaway for the first time today.
Yeah, right now everybody chasing the 24 shotgun into the bus stop for the first time, heading into the carousel, downshift. 24 trying to get back on the gas. See him a little loose right there. Rear end wiggling just a little bit, coming out across the rumble strip, get a little bit more grip. Back down this back straightaway. You see the other 88 kind of nailed the inside wall just a little bit. Atlanta coming to the last turn before we complete first lap.
Yeah, so far that was a weird little start right there, but the 24 of NEA Shotgun going to be taking this first lap here.
Lap to go for Shotgun, and he's going to sweep the stages. How about E-Dog as well? In second, playing the field game right, trying to gain as much points as possible there for A2. We'll get the points calculated at the end of the race, but if this man's Shotgun out in front, keep focusing on here for third. The 4, the 17, the bumper for a moment to Deplorable. Did not work out there for Knockout. They take the white flag now. Final lap for them. They're battling for third. No one else is going to catch them. TRT is just like 20 seconds back in fifth position. The 88 goes off the pace in the grass for a moment into the S. Is currently in second. 22 seconds back. But all of that is happening behind this man who is dominated in the number 24 Exalta Chevy Camaro ENEA Shotgun. He won stage 1. He won stage 2. 2 turns away, and he's going to sweep the day. A dominant car all day. He can celebrate by shotgunning a beer off the final corner. It's an immaculate race for Shotgun. Checkered flag is in the air. He's going to win the first race of round 2 of the Fast Family League Showdown coming at Watkins Glen.
Very big congratulations.
Here they come into the restart zone. Green flag in the air. We are green here at Watkins Glen Motor Speedway. The 32 of Bit Skydiver 4424 coming into turn 1 with the 6 car at his inside as they come off this first turn into the runoff. He goes. He will lead the field into the S's part here. The 6 car behind him, the 11 car sitting behind him, and the 12 car also sitting there in 4th.
KD straight away, the top 4 being held by OMA, Bit Skydiver in the 32, Thought Crane in the 6, Oscar Meyer car behind him, Misscraft in the 11, and in the 12, it's Drew. So far, it's a great start for these top 4 in OMA, but there's a couple of drivers starting to make their way up there. Top Wage in the number 1 for Wolfpack Racing League currently sits 5th, and he's got the 37 of Trippy Tricks right next to him for OMA as well. If the 37 gets around the 1, it's going to be the top 5 for OMA, KD.
Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. So, again, still very early in the stage. You don't want to, do anything, stupid here and screw your team over because you got a lot of time, a lot of race left. Obviously, when it comes down to it, every point counts. But at the same time, you don't want to be too aggressive and lose demands for the 32. And I believe even if he does make a mistake here, Rick James, I feel like he has such large lead that's not really going to matter in the end.
We're looking at the 32 now rounding that first corner, headed up that famous Watkins Glen Hill, being almost chaperoned by those tight blue guardrails into this tricky bus stop. Right, left, right, and a long carousel. Keep your eyes peeled on that 32. It seems after that warning, he has heeded down. He's heeded that warning of cutting the bus stop, and he's taking it slow and very, very ginger-like out of these final corners. Just a lapped car behind him and 2 more corners to manage. The 90-degree left-hander, the 90-degree right-hander, and what a dominating race it was at the Glen, not only for OMA, but the driver of the 32 Dryden Mustang, Bit Skydiver, wins at Watkins Glen.
What a race for the 32. What a run for OMA in
flag is in the air for car number 12. Does he have the fuel to make it? 2 1/3 miles to go, and you just saw a couple of cars went off the track there. That looks to be
They're doing some off-roading.
a big spur. Doing some off-roading at Mid-Ohio, headed into the keyhole, Wayne. Racing Rocks has this lead.
Man, this is down to the line. I did not expect Racing Rocks in the 12 car to have this much fuel, but as you said before, and as we've been saying, fuel strategy is a big key in tonight. And Volts, I think you're right. He may have enough. He's been just barely having the perfect pit stops. So he might have enough fuel to make it to the end here. And if he does, we're going to have a new winner. And the 19 is not going to take it like I predicted. But we still have a few more corners. You never know. Drastically saving fuel through these last few corners. Can Racing Rocks 24 in the 12 car make it to the checkered flag? Not losing fuel, and without that 19 catching up, it's down to the line right now, fans. Who do you think is going to get it?
The 12 car coming through the carousel section one more time. Wayne, he could coast his way to the end. It's been a dominating show from Crotum all race long, but the 12 of Racing Rocks out of the left, right, he's going to get the win at Mid-Ohio for Unbound.
Stage 1. Stage 1 is going to be 22 laps, so we're going to see what these guys can do. As we've said, you get 6 laps to a tank, so it's going to be pretty close. We're going to see a few pit stops here tonight, so that's really going to separate these guys, I feel like, once it starts moving here. We're looking at CRL Sam. He is on pole, and off he goes. We're going to look at what these guys can do in the first turn here, but these guys can cut this track a lot, J-Mac.
They can, but it's a really, really tight corner that you have to make, as we saw a spin in the very back of the field. But that's a tough place. They're all going to the keyhole, and the 88 blows the corner. Several drivers out in the dirt. Kind of what we expected here on these first laps. A little bit of mayhem there in turn 1, but they're going to work their way down into another heavy braking zone, which I imagine will be another place for some action.
Slide Job with quite a bit of a lead as these guys are struggling behind him. He is off and running, but Money, I'm not sure who you watching, but this is very interesting. Let's take a look at that 88. Oh, he narrowly misses, looks like in one of the 98s. So he is going to have a lot of catching up to do after this. You can see some dirt flying. These guys really just have a lot to go for tonight. It's going to be quite a challenging track, but so far it seems pretty good. These guys, a couple of guys in the grass, but I don't see anything too crazy as of yet.
Yeah, you're right. So far, I'm almost to the point where he's lapped the entire field. Is you start racing for pride, because you don't want to finish a lap down in a race this long at a track this big. So the 24 and the 4, they want to beat each other, but I think they also just want to make lap time, work their way, around the track, keeping all 4 tires on the pavement. And apparently this is the last lap, from what I heard. So, all right, they're not going to get lapped.
Not gonna get lapped, and we see Slide Job. He just looks like he is just on it. You can see him entering that turn pretty hard there, making his way through the S's and coming around the left-hand turn here, which has been so treacherous tonight, but he is on his way to win this race for the Memorial Race for GRM Joker. Great job to him tonight, and we'll see who finishes second out here. Let's see if we can get a count. Go ahead.
As we said, they're still pushing. The 4 drove off the track there in turn 1, trying to make a last dash push to get to the 24. So there's definitely still a lot of effort on the racetrack. But now it seems like there's something wrong with the 4s. He has really fallen back.
Yeah, we have Slide Job as the winner here at Mid-Ohio. He has taken the checkered flag. Great job by him. Let's see if we can get Expert Toaster and Trigger Trezzy. Let me see if I can find him. Trigger Trezzy should...
Make sure you're not looking under HD for my gamer tag, because that's not me.
I thought it just. Where are you? Yep, they're going green. All right. All right, there we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Caller in, Pete.
All right, I got you. So it looks like at the front, you talked about it earlier, going to be that 42 of CGMX Rose. Got down through 1 and 2 pretty efficiently. It looks like he, just like in the NNR days, he was able to qualify up towards the front. Him and all that fantastic Fanatec equipment that he got as part of his Pro League adventure. Again, he was one of the drivers picked up by Chip Ganassi. So 42 of CGMX Rose out behind him. You're going to have the 28 of Boehner. Behind Boehner is going to be that lone gray car you talked about of God Power. Behind God Power, or a little bit further back, it's going to be that 5 of Parzival. Then you got that 3 car, NNR Rowdy. Behind Rowdy, you got the 30 of Amore Smoke, the 78 of Cowboy. Looks like the 24 of Coey. It's going to keep going through the roster just so you can all see who's out here. Pull for your favorite driver. There's the 55 of Obi-Wan Bend. 86 or 98 of Nugget. There we go. C. Marcel in that 14. Colin Halbert trying to pull the inside of Coey. Coey's going to go ahead and let him go on by. I'm sure Coey right there probably in a little bit of fuel-saving mode as well. And at the line this time, 1 lap remaining here, Dohar. 1 more lap. I'm going to bring it on up to that 42 of CGMX Rose. Hashtag Grow with Rose, and see how that young man can finish this off.
Yeah, the battle here is going to be for second. It really is. It's going to be between Amore Smoke, and if he's got enough gas, and Obi-Wan Ben. They're coming down through the back straightaway, getting ready to end this one out. As Rose should be getting to the line right about. Oh, he's got 1 more turn, so we'll follow along with him. 1 more turn here for Rose. Let it wire to wire. Started from the pole. Now he's here. Victory for CGMX Rose. That's going to lead to a probable NNR victory as we go back to the battle for second. More Smoke looks like he's going to get the better of Obi-Wan Ben, but shout out to Obi-Wan as he doors his teammate, the lap car, 1 final time. And More Smoke going to...
6th car is taking off from this. Oh, Juicy Crack is really getting down there in the braking zone. Oh, he overshoots the corner as well, but he keeps it safe. Let's see who's in second. Man, these cars are weird, being green and blue and yellow. Looks like the top four right now is dominated by the Fast Family Showdown. You got Slide Job coming in here at 4th. He's really shaky coming down the long straightaway, going into a tight corner. He's getting a run down there from a Stout Whiskey going to the inside of him.
I got this now,
I
Tian
picked to
Balls.
win this race. Take it from there.
We got 1 car that went off of the track for a moment, and that was one of the Fast Family cars, currently back in the 4th position. We'll get it to you in just a moment. I think that may have been the 44 Magical Loaf, but this is the best battle on track for 3rd. They go into the kink for the first time today. You got to be very careful here, or else you'll go way wide off the track there. But good battle on track there as the Juice has pulled away, currently in the race lead. Harvick side by side now going in the Canada corner. Here comes the 2 down low of Chain to the bottom, and that's not working out. Meanwhile, Slide Job goes wide. You could use the runoff there. No track limits on the outside, the inside. You got to be careful for corner cutting here. And now they go into turn 14. Lap number 1 of this one going to be led by the Juice, but they are battling it on out for 4th position here, Harvick.
Yeah, and I tell you what, as we come to complete the first lap here, of course, these laps, they take about 2 minutes, so a lot happens in 1 lap. See, your leader has kind of...
I promise you, all 4 tires have been under that rumble strip on both cars. I ain't picking sides. I ain't here to cheer nobody on, but if we're going to call it down the middle right here on this one, you want to call it down the middle. I've watched both of these cars go under that rumble strip multiple times, and it just ain't working here. I mean, we've been showing this lead for about 4 laps now, and they have cut this track multiple times here. We're showing the viewers.
Final lap. Oh, 88 loose in the final turn.
Let's see if he throws a block.
Here we go for the race lead. Final lap coming to the stripe here for stage 2. Here comes Cheese to the bottom. Now the slide jump, try to put the block here. That's the deficit right there. The 88 could clear the 48 here if he wants to for hard racing. 48 late on the brakes in turn 1. He's got the lead. 88 crosses over. Slide jump's got it back. The 48 went tight and won.
If I was at 48 right there, I would have put a little bit of a bumper to him. I'd have paid him back for what he did to me going into the corner to take the lead. But coming out of the corner, 48 is right on the bumper of the 88. He's getting a run. 88's throwing the block. 48 sliding out there getting the draft on him. He's trying to get a run down the whole straightaway going into this tight corner. Down here is turn 3.
Oh, this is going to get wild here in the Moraine sweep. The slide job. Defensive inside line here in the corner.
He cut it again.
Yeah, he cut it again, it looked like. Also, the 48 spun. She spun. Oh, that's going to be a huge game changer for stage 2. And he's going to lose second there. That's not going to be anything worthy loss there for North America. Well, the 48 lose again. And now here comes Shane for second. Insane racing in stage 2. And this is going to be a 4-car Duke for the runner-up spot. Cheese goes wide. Now they go into the carousel. Here comes on the bottom. That's Ford. Ford going for a point here. Contact there. Trading pain in the carousel with Shane. Now into the kink. Let's see how this turns out. Does Shane try and make a move for an additional point? We'll just have to wait and see. Going inside on Ford here in Canada corner. Oh, he tried to shut the door out of contact. He tried to cut him off there. We'll have to see what happens there. More contact. Oh, around goes Ford. Ford got, oh, that was Austin, excuse me. Austin got turned, but here they come to the end of stage 2. Slide job's gonna take it, and we are going to need to take a breather for the end of stage 2. Holy moly. Slide job, the stage 2 victory, and this, I think here, Harvick.
Okay. Did you find him, Whoop?
Yep, I got invites to both of you. All right.
Awesome. All right, so here we are getting loaded in. We're still coming to the green. It's going to be the 2 of Finesse with the 10 of NNR Aswell to the outside, going under the bridge. Here we are ready, Wub, going into turn 1. I'm going to give you a little bit just to get loaded in, but it's going to be the 2 of Finesse that's going to come off the outside line of the 10 of Aswell. First 10, and then we got the 16 of Honestly You're Bad, the 43 of Mr. Cola. So right now it's going to be an all American Ethanol top 4. The 38 of Fatless Dig with the 88, the 43 of Wild Wreck Neck. Fair enough. The 4 of King Mathers, 88 of NNR Trip, 24 of the Irish Rear, the 11 of A-Bar. We got the 77 of Allen Dynasty. We got the 37 of Vibe Beast. 48 of Gecko Gamer. 34 of Crackmaster. The 12 of Air Just Cause. 95 of Rage Omega. That's an awesome gamer tag. 18 of Krabby Soup. 17 of Mayo Bacon. And then we got OK Sideways. He's going to be our pace car tonight. Just working his way all the way back around one time. That way he doesn't lag out as he sits at the end of pit road waiting. And gentlemen, we are back up front between the 2 and the 10. What are you saying here, Dub?
Well, I see the 10. He just got right past the 2. The 2 out-qualified him just barely, but the 10 got through, and now Asbel is trying to set his sights and just get away from that 2 car. But right now, American Ethanol is looking really strong. There was a little bit of trouble in that turn that I talked about earlier where the infamous jump is. There was a little bit of 3 wide, a couple cars bumped and banged, and you can expect that on various restarts tonight. But right now, the 10 and the 2 have just gotten away. Looking a little further behind, you've got the 16 car running in 4th place. You've got Mr. Cola in 4th. And the 14 and 30 got a little bit loose. He'll settle down as it's still 1, 2, 3, 4 here for American Ethanol, getting off to a great start as the 14 goes wide. The 16 takes 3rd. Over to you, Pete.
Yeah, 16 was able to get on by. Again, that's going to be the 16. I think I'd actually already passed him. It's going to be the 16 of Honestly You're Bad. So make the stream from Asbel, as you see at the line this time. Hopefully I can
Oh,
get.
everybody's lagging out. I
I
think.
Are they?
lagged out.
Oh,
I lagged out.
you'll see with a big lag out. Oh, it happened. It happened. The big lag out
With
finally.
2 to
The
go.
server
Yep.
crashed. We
I
finally
was
we were
watching the
talking about it earlier.
95 going 40 miles an hour, and then he just
We were,
disappeared, and then I disappeared.
we were talking
Yep.
about it earlier, and it finally happened. There it is.
Yep, I'm on Aswell's car right now. You see the 16 on one end of the track. You see the 10 on the other. But that big message on the bottom with a yellow,
Lost
yellow
server connection.
stamp, lost server
Yep.
connection. So, yep, Kid Dynamite, as you just said out there in chat, rip. So exactly what happened last night happened tonight. Yep, Boehner out there now saying the server crashed. We might have. I don't know if they're if they'll consider putting a hold on this showdown until these servers get up and running and are more stable. This is two nights in a row that they've gone down. We were able to keep an eye on the 10 for his last lap, even though it really didn't mean much.
Well, he got the win.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. They got the win, but very unfortunate. After all that, with 2 laps to go, that happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely unfortunate. I'm assuming that they're probably just gonna call. I would not think that they're gonna run the last 2 laps here, and they're gonna get everybody back.
We are live from the Sonoma Raceway for the 8th race of the second round. Tyler Brown leading this race up the left-right combination. These first S's up this first corner. A very tightly packed competition through these first 4 corners at Sonoma. Tyler Brown getting off to a lead of 1 or 2 car lengths heading into the inner carousel, now part of the new NASCAR schedule. And so far, Worm, they've made it clean through the first half of this track.
Yeah, qualifying was beautiful. You did not see many. Well, they're going through it. We already passed qualifying. Looks like Tyler's going to hold into that lead is where he's got right now.
Spur Tyler Brown in the 76, being followed by Randy Hinshaw in the 5, then Rowdy Hawk in the 18. The top 3 being held by Hybrid. Then you have Afraid Snake in the 9 coming up behind that 18, that 9 car being piloted for IVRL. So top 3 Hybrid, but Afraid Snake is now latching on with the 18 car of Rowdy Hawk making some mistakes, Spur.
Yes, if you look who's right behind him in the 9 car of Afraid Snake, he made a very good entry into the hairpin coming to complete the first lap. We are on to the second lap of the 55 laps here at Sonoma. As your leader is still Tyler Brown in that 76 as he's heading up the first hill up into turn 2. Going to head right back down the hill to go back up for a third time.
Brown's Noma, because he has owned this track. I mean, he had a little competition on the restart, stage 2, when number 10 got the jump on him. And I mean, Brad gave him a run for the money, but the consistency that Tyler has used has paid off. The patience, he's slowly, this has been his race. I mean, I hate to say it, I love seeing a good fight up front, but hey, we've always got 2 more races left that we're going to see some good action in.
Exactly. As we had a change. No, you go, Rick.
Well, I was just going to agree with Worm that we still have some more action to see in this second round, but plenty of action at these rolling hills at Sonoma, Spur.
Exactly. As one big change in the spots was Randy taking second place from Jay Gimble, his teammate. So it's going to be a 1-2-3 for IVRL, with the first hybrid driver going to be Jinx in the 4th. Coming in last place was the 2, who retired early. We don't know if that was because of car problems or internet problems or something, but he locked down that last position, and a couple of his teammates were right in front of him. but a couple other cars from IVRL that were behind the
1-8.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Let me know if you didn't
I don't
get
see
it.
one yet. I don't see one.
Okay. All right.
All right, well, looks like they are going to be doing a pace lap, I believe. No? No, they're underway. They're good to go. Couldn't remember if Mr. Slide Jump said they were going to be changing it up or not. But we are underway. Green flag here tonight at the Charlotte Roval.
There you go.
Woohoo. Making my way in.
All right, yep.
Well, so far it's going to be the 16 of Fluffy X2 leading these cars around the Roval. Hasn't quite got the gap yet between him and second, but it is easy to grow that gap here as we are headed on to one of the fastest parts of this track when it comes to the Roval.
Yep, NASCAR Oval. We got the 42 again. The Big John guy will be keeping up with all night long for any kind of assistance. Then we got the 22 of Tedeschi right behind him. Something must have happened there with Fluffy, because he was at a complete stop, bound up the entire track. So that put the 42 in P1. He's under pressure by the 22, side by side.
Yep, there goes the 22. I believe of Brian Tedeschi going to be entering first place already. Multiple lead changes in the very first lap. And that's road course racing, as Mr. Slide Job said earlier, as we head into the second lap. And for a lot of drivers, that treacherous first turn.
Yeah, treacherous first turn. The 88 of Dohar able to get in there pretty clean. Kept it off the wall. Top three are starting to gap him just a little bit, but he's got some company behind as he slaps the outside wall. Excuse me.
Yeah, a little contact with Dohar right there. He's not going to lose any position, but it definitely slowed up the cars behind him, which can be a little frustrating, but it's very, very early on in this race, so you have as much time as you need to make it work, as Tedeschi is still your leader. Let's take a look back at some of the other drivers on board with the 12 of Scott Hall for life.
In turn number 11, they actually went side by side in there, and that clearly did not work out well, at least for the 11.
All right, this time by, when the 16 sees the start stripe, it will be one more lap to go. So, yeah, break it on out. 16. I mean, if he doesn't screw up here on the final lap, he's going to be doing some donuts. We'll be talking to him here in the booth. E-Spark is going to be walking away with a ton of points. Again, Slide Job will post all the points either later on tonight or tomorrow after looking at any and all penalties, if there were any, and get it all taken care of. But E-Spark definitely putting on a very dominant performance here tonight.
Yep, they sure have been, and that's like I said at the beginning of the race. That's what I've seen a lot during these is teams working together and getting 4 or 5 guys up at the top, and that's what you got to do to secure that win. That's what you got to do. So watching Fluffy and these E-Spark guys working out here tonight has been great at the Roval, and we'll hopefully see some more of them in the next round. Whoa! Did you mean to do that?
That was checkered flag.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking that, I thought the race was in right there, but I was like, what did he just do that for? But yeah, 16 of Fluffy right there. He led most of today's race. He is going to be your winner here for E-Spark Fast Family Racing Showdown Series Round 2, Race 9. 16 of Fluffy. Great job by him tonight.
Yeah, I saw that too, where he came out and there was a car sideways across the stripe. It was like, what is this right here? And yeah, did a little bit of a duck dive and a juke, and was able to avoid him, but still, that was the end. So I have to now wait a second. Fluffy actually got that. I think it's going to be the 10 for Scott Hall.
Oh, really?
It's saying Scott Hall for life, Fluffy in second.
As they get into the restart zone, Kyle Fan 18 is your pole, and green flag in the air. We're racing here, Road America. Again, Kyle Fan 18 in that number 19. He is your pole setter. He leads the field coming into turn 1 with Tom Flitty in the 8 car sitting at his right side as Flitty seems to get the advantage off of turn 1. And they're side by side as they come into turn number 2.
We had a crash back there coming off of turn 2. ECR Kool-Aid got way wide, and now we got the 41 kind of checking it through there. Now the 11 spun out. There goes the 11. That's Wonder Bread. He's already spun out. 62's falling into disarray. A couple guys running into some early troubles here, Ward, as they head down into the hard left-hander.
Indeed, but one guy who was confident finding speed is, oh my goodness, Kerr just bounced off the inside wall, sent one car off the track along with J-Mac, who nearly went into the grass. But Tom Flitty out with the lead over Kyle Fan 18. But I'll tell you what, right now it is a 2-car breakaway. But overall, the rest of the field pretty much jam-packed in a cluster behind the first 3.
Yeah, these 2 cars, the 19 and the 8 car, are really just pulling away from the pack here with the 20 sitting right on their rear of Rangers X15. So we'll see what kind of race this turns out to be. It seems like in this road course round, the theme has really been, 1 or 2 guys kind of scooting away from the field, and then you got 2 or more guys that are, have flashes that they can roll up with the fastest guys, and then you got kind of like the rest of the field after that. So again, we'll see how this race kind of plays out here. Once we kind of get in the green flag pit stop, if we do get to that point and we don't get a caution here,
yeah, he did. I think he's going to be one of maybe 2 guys to do this, and his team's still moving on. I mean, Jacob Kerr is planting his flag and letting it be known that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, as he's going to take the checkered flag. My buddy from Kansas who let me eat his Bojangles and listen to Ty Dillon on the radio gets the win.
Yep, so Rangers X15 gets the win here, Road America, as these guys will come around here and they will finish their last laps here after the guys a lap down.
All right, and we are back. Not bad for a video. Hopefully everybody got to see a little bit of themselves out there. Congratulations to the winners, those that are moving on to round 3. Again, the Super Speedway round will be picking between Daytona and Talladega soon. But first, I'm going to bring your commissioners back in. Slide job for Tough. Hell of a video. Good job on the compilation. What'd y'all think?
Oh man, what a round. I mean, that video doesn't even do justice to the amount of action and awesome racing that we saw on track. Right from the very beginning, with the first one, we saw ENEA and above average take to the track at Watkins Glen, which is probably one of the drivers' favorites. And they went caution free and ended up with a 22-point differential. So, again, after round 1, we saw NNR and All-American give a good showing in the first race, set the tone. We saw it here again. Let me know what you guys thought of that race.
Yeah, NNR and a little on the high side, a phenomenal race. We were actually talking about a little on the high side strategy in the beginning of that race. I wonder if they would have held off and shown their hand a little bit later, maybe stage 3, when points are really at a premium. If they would have been able to catch NNR unawares that they were trying to really back it off and save some fuel, but they tried it right from the get-go. NNR caught their game, matched them, and NNR went on with the points. But yeah, that was definitely really good.
Absolutely. You're talking about I believe that was race number 5, first one that we saw at Canadian Tire. That was a cool race as well, where we saw really stand out there in CGM Rose running for the cycle in that race. What a dominant performance, but not as close as that first race that I mentioned.
I'm sorry. I think you might be talking about Shotgun in the first race.
Yeah. We kind of jumped races. You
Yeah,
mentioned
we
the
did.
NNR.
Yep.
But yeah, that's right. We can go back. Let's go back to that one real quick because that was
All
a
right.
really cool race. Where we saw, yeah, another driver run for the cycle, the NEA shotgun, for his first. He was so close in the first round, but he got it in this one. But this was one of the tightest, if not the tightest battle uh, of round two. So big shout out to E Dog and Deplorable Me. A lot of those guys scoring pretty high for the losing team of above average, but those guys had a really great race, a good tone setter for the rest of the round, and we really enjoyed that one.
There's a lot to enjoy about the first several races before the servers decided to show their ugly hand. But yeah, that first race was really good.
Absolutely, and then jumping right into the second race, it was the same story really. I think we had one or two cautions in this race. One of them was just a massive track blocked incident, but the race between Wolfpack and OMA had a different twist on it, and the one that really got me with that is that OMA only finished the race with 6 people. They started with 8, so they knew they were already down drivers and they had to do something special if they were going to move on. And it was really the efforts of guys like Bit Skydiver, Thought Crane, Trippy Tricks, It's Mitts Craft, because those guys, they all 4 of them scored above 45 points. So they really recognized the situation, know they needed to, come up with points. And then, as they got farther in the race, they even lost 2 other drivers lagging out. So, it really came down to the wire where we didn't know who was going to win that one. And, unfortunately, with even with the penalties that really didn't decide it, it would have been only a 19-point race. So, without the penalties in that race, that was another crazy one. We saw 2 super close ones at the driver favorite Watkins Glen. What did you think of that one?
Ford, are you still there?
We might have
I
lost.
Yeah, I guess maybe we lost Ford. Well, either way, I mean the race at the Glen, it's for yeah, Watkins Glen has probably been my favorite track ever since I started racing online, going back to the '09 days. Um, it's always a favorite of mine. It's always a favorite to watch. The two teams they battled it out. I think that race actually had if I'm not mistaken, from what I had heard, the least amount of penalties that were given on probably a track that you could have amassed more than many others. But again, a great between two great teams, kept it clean, and I believe it was OMA that moved on.
Absolutely, yeah. They ended up winning it 315 to 194 after penalties, but that was definitely a great race and really set the example as far as for me. It doesn't matter as much. If you have 7, 8, 9 drivers, if you get the right people and you put up the right effort, if you're determined enough, you can still win it. Even with lag outs and other things. So, but moving on from that one, then we jumped in to another doubleheader. We were at Mid Ohio for 2 races in a row. The first being a really crazy competitive one. It was Unbound and TNT that took on the track first. And, Pete, you could give me your opinion, but in my opinion, Mid Ohio is really one of the toughest tracks of the 6 road courses. Just how technical it is. And, with the Cup cars having so much torque, it's very easy to, put too much throttle into it and spin off a corner, get light coming up one of the hills. And, that track really proved tough for a lot of drivers, but these 2 teams really showed how to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably one reason why the Cup cars don't go to Mid Ohio. A whole lot of extra in those Cup cars to get around that place. You really got to make sure you hit your braking zones and you're able to get back on the gas at the exact time you need in order to come off strong, come off fast, and maybe even try to outbrake the guy that you're racing against. But to kind of touch back on what you were just talking about OMA, we saw quite a few leagues actually either start or lose a few people in the early parts of the race. So congrats to OMA and anyone else that had to endure the fight with less than the 10 on your team. But when it comes to TNT, obviously they moved on as part of this race. They got it done. I'm sure they're excited for the super speedway round, and I believe it's going to be TNT and NAOR if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, that's correct.
yep, that's going to be coming up.
Absolutely. And the
Hopefully y'all
crazy
can
thing
hear me
about
now.
this race is
Yep, we got you.
there's
I had to
but what I
disconnect and
think
reconnect.
about the Unbound TNT race was, other than the penalties, this was only a 10-point win. A raw score. I mean, we thought the first two at Watkins Glen were competitive. This one was nuts. And not only did we see, survival of the fittest, we saw It's Crotum dominate that race as far as speed in the early going. He won the first two stages with Hurricane Lane right behind him. But guess what? Neither of them finished in the top two. We saw Racing Rocks 24 for Unbound actually play some strategy at the end of that race and get himself the win for his team. What a fantastic job. We didn't know if he would run out of fuel, but he saved enough and he had it locked up there. And Davy Jones was another one for TNT that it was a late comer. It seemed like he had speed, but just couldn't get out of traffic. And then with the long run in stage three, he really rose to the top and he came home with second. But it was TNT that moved on 377 to 217 after penalties. And what a great race that was. And then, Ford, you know a lot about this one. The second race at Mid Ohio was a little bit of interesting and heartwarming, but at the same time saddening race. We did have a team get DQ'd early on before the race actually even started, and so we knew the Carolina Racing League was moving on. But unfortunately, that was when the news broke that one of our good friends had passed away, that even raced in the tournament with us. And as a special tribute to him and celebrating his racing career and his life, we asked and invited Sprite Cup Series, the team that he ran for in the tournament, along with some of his closest friends, to run a tribute race against CRL to still put on a show for the fans and run a race to remember him. So I know you were very close to him and had a big part in that.
Oh yeah, and unfortunately I didn't get to run in that race, but it was so good to see his car, running out front. No matter who was driving it, that was him driving because he was along for the ride. Like I said, it was so good to see everybody come together, Sprite Cup, and all his closest friends run in that race. And no matter if it was just for fun or not, it was still enjoyable to see how many people came out just to run that tribute race with him.
Absolutely. And, a lot of us that have seen the viewership chart even saw that race was actually the most viewed race of round two. So that was really special. And I got to say, I've run a ton of league races in my career and won a bunch, but that was the most emotional race I've ever been a part of. I've never stepped out of a race car or even the last couple of laps with tears in my eyes before, and that was something special. I mean, I felt like he was along the way the whole time, and I had the great pleasure to run the car that he ran most frequently throughout IVRL and a couple of other leagues, and to put that car in victory lane. That was just one of the most amazing experiences and the best that me as one of his friends could do in a tribute. So that was just an awesome race, a lot of emotions, and it was a good showing.
And shout out to Panda Chick. I know she's in the chat right now. She has watched almost every league showdown that we put on. You know that was his girlfriend, and she wanted familiar soundings, so she comes and joins us. In the chat every time we put on a league race. That's pretty
Absolutely.
awesome. So I'm glad she can join us.
Yeah, it's very special to have her and all of his friends that we have raced with over the last year to come and join us. Because this is what the whole event is about: bringing the community together. And when something bad happens to any member of our racing community, that's where we value the most: coming together, doing what we love. So, but moving on, I know, repeat, you greatly enjoyed this race. The one you even so much you wanted to talk about it first.
I'm sorry, you mentioned the gamer tag, and yeah, it just brought me right to it. I mean, flashbacks. Hello.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about that one. So this was our first of two races at Canadian Tire, and we talked about, we did see the absolute domination of CGM Rose, but it really was that middle of the pack that we saw a lot of the action and navigating that tough course. So overall, what did you think of that race?
I thought it was a phenomenal race. I touched on it before about the fuel strategy, that a little on the high side. Attempted to get done, and I just think that if they tried it a little bit later, even though they would have given up some points in stage 1 and stage 2, stage 3 is where the max points are played. If they were able to catch NNR unaware in stage 3, they may have been able to do a little bit and a little something different, and it might have been a different result. But either way, great try by a little on the high side. The 42 of CGMX Rose, his car was on rails the entire race. And it wasn't just, NNR didn't walk away with this like they did in round 1, where it ended up being like all 9 or 8 or 9 guys for NNR in the top 8 or 9 positions at the end of the race. There were still quite a few of high side drivers mixed into that top 10.
Absolutely, you're exactly right. And one of those drivers, OB Ben, or OB1 Ben, however you pronounce it, he finished top three, third place in that race. So he was able to hang with guys like a More Smoke and God Power, guys that we see, daily in the NNR races. Some of these guys that maybe some of the community members haven't heard of, hanging with these guys. So it's really cool. To see. And that driver I just mentioned, he led a little on the high side with 46 points. Holy Nugget up there as well. So you saw a great battle at a tough track. But NNR did come away with a win, but not as much as you'd expect. 359 and 285, which that competition that a little on the high side gave kind of hurt NNR in those point standings that we'll get to at the end. When all things said and done, we expected them maybe to have a little bit bigger of a margin of victory, but it was definitely a hard fought battle.
Yeah, and this was another race where where their servers were showing their ugly head. I think NNR actually had 2 or 3 lag out of that race, and they really had to step it up. And like you said, they got it done. But man, it's altogether it was a great race for high side and NNR. And it's going to be NNR in round 3.
Yep, and unfortunately, that was the start. Right after the NASCAR Heat 5 patch that was released, kind of threw a little kink in the servers, I guess, and we did see some lag. They were not too bad, but we did see the signs of it. And then it definitely reared its ugly head. Ford, I know you could talk about this race more than anyone else here, other than myself. The next race was the Fast Family Racing League versus NAOR, which was a tightly fought battle. Ended up becoming the tightest battle, whether you look at raw points or after penalties of the round. So, Ford, what did you think of that race, driving in and then watching it?
Do we have to talk about it?
Oh boy,
It was a very close race. I mean, I think everybody was, equally matched, no matter if you were the top guys or the ones running in the back. You had competition around you. So either way, from first to 20th, I mean, it was a tight battle between everybody. I wish
Absolutely.
we
And
could have went to the end.
yeah, I think we all did, even the fans. We wanted to see a full race. Unfortunately, the servers didn't allow us to. But, you mentioned, how much of a challenge it was. It was also the first time that we saw Road America, the 4 mile beast, make its appearance in the tournament. And what a race it was. I think from all the people I talked to about that race, Shane Graboid said it best. He said, I'm used to, running, 10 seconds ahead of the field at road courses, because he knows, and a lot of people that have run with him know, he's one of the road course, masters. And he said, but, there were people all around me the whole time. It felt like we had, 20 or 15 road course aces out there, and we all didn't know what to do with ourselves. I mean, when you don't normally get in a circumstance like that where you got a ton of people, that good. So it was definitely a battle, and shout out to Cheese, who we didn't know it at the time, but me and him had that battle for the stage 2 victory that ended up being the race victory. And boy, just you saw it in the clips, door to door, bumper to bumper, it was actually 3 or 4 laps before that you didn't see. It was like that for a while. So, shout out to him for such a great job, and Shane and everybody in that whole race. I mean, it was competitive. It was probably, you could tell me what you think, but I honestly believe that was the most competitive road course race I've ever been in.
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't had better competition. Like you
Absolutely.
said, nobody ran away from anybody. It was that close.
Yeah, you just couldn't get in. You think 4 miles, you think that there'd be some room, that you could get, but not on that race. Everybody was definitely there, and the match only decided by 2 points. I mean, it seems like wherever Fast Family goes, it's a tight race. You saw us only take the victory in the first round by 4 points. So, I mean, the one record we have is close finishes 2 times in a row. So hey, you know, whether you like it or you don't, I mean, we had a ball, and we wish NAOR the best of luck in the next round. We are pulling for them hard. Can't wait to see what they can do. Yeah, so that was that.
Absolutely.
Moving on. I know, Pete, you know a little bit about this one too. The American Ethanol Piston Cup race was also at Canadian Tire on the second of the two, and that one was a great race as well.
Yeah, the American Ethanol Group was able to, in the end, to go ahead and get it done. But Piston Cup put up one hell of a fight all race long. Again, Canadian Tire, very very fast back above the border. That was another one. I don't think there were very many penalties at. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
None, actually, not one. Yeah, there were. My score sheet says there were 0 penalties in that race, and yeah, it was definitely a tight one. 381 for American Ethanol, 228 for Piston Cup. But Piston Cup came in with 8 drivers, so they were also another one of those that felt like they were in a hole to start with. But it was Geico Gamer and the Irish Rear
Yep.
holding up Piston Cup flag there. And then we saw Amar Asbel, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but he's the only driver yet in the tournament to run for the cycle in both round one and round two. But we can't forget guys like Honestly You're Bad, X Finesse, and King Mathers, and even Fatless Dig. All drive, we had 5 drivers on that team that scored 45 points or more. So, it really, was a direct result of those guys is the reason that American Ethanol almost took the bye. They were so close and just got edged out, but they were very strong in round 2.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't forget, as you were watching the playback, we saw we were riding along with the 10 car, and all of a sudden it says disconnected from the server. So that was the first race where the that new guideline or that new rule came into play. They restarted stage 3, and as you said, Asbel went on to finish the trifecta, got it done in stage 3, and American Ethanol was able to move on to round 3, and we'll be talking about them here in just a little bit once we get the track selections going.
Absolutely, and we definitely realized after that was the 3rd time that the servers had an effect on the race, so we had to put some sort of rule in place, and we saw that acted on there first, and then we actually saw it later on in the East Park race, but it was definitely helped, and we definitely want to provide the best racing for the fans and the drivers, and make them feel like they have a complete race. So it's worked out so far. And the next race was actually really cool because somehow it, unbeknownst to us, the random generator didn't even select Sonoma.
Right.
And we were just dumbfounded by that. And in an effort to provide the best experience to the fans and try to show off every track that we can that NASCAR Heat 5 has to offer, we offered all the teams the unique opportunity to change their track for Sonoma to give the fans a look at it. And we only had one volunteer, and it was actually the IVRL and Hybrid volunteered to take on the Beast in the West at Sonoma Raceway, and it was a good one. Ford, you remember that race very well, don't you?
Yeah. I remember watching Texas Spot send somebody into the pits.
Yep.
not meaning to, but it just shows how important those breaking points are, and trying to pay attention to where everybody else breaks. But yeah, there was definitely everybody had mistakes. It was still a close race. I mean, you had a bunch of guys up front. Tyler Brown was up front. Randy ended up running up front. Unfortunately, he got a penalty for going 3 wide at one of the restarts. But it was still good racing. I mean, you couldn't beat it.
Absolutely. IVRL really put on a dominant performance, and we actually were kind of happy to see this because I know a lot of people were questioning, IVRL. What's going on with them after that first round? They looked like they were not in the form that we expected them to be in, and they needed a comeback. And the guy that kind of led that charge was good old Tyler Brown. He absolutely dominated that race. He ran for the cycle, led his team to that, and he had a strong backing. He had guys like Rowdy Hawk and Tough to Pass, Jay Gimbel, Afraid Snake, guys that really backed him, grabbed a ton of points. And, there was a few mistakes in that race. There were a couple penalties issued because of them. But, at the end of the day, they did win by a huge margin. However, I honestly believe, without those penalties, they could have, maybe finished a little bit higher in the standings. But, at the end of the day, it didn't matter based on that last match. But, Hybrid really put up a good fight as well. I mean, guys like James and Jake and Beast Football really gave those guys a run for their money. But, that race was just an IVRL domination.
Sorry,
Before
I'm
you
reading
guys
the
go on
chat.
to the next race, I got to give one big shout out. Worm Rider, he's out there in chat. He's kind of cutting up right now with a little bit with Ford Tough and Fry Dog and whatnot. But we cannot forget about the great video creation that Worm Rider put together for our good buddy GRM Joker in the beginning of that. Again, great job, Worm, and I'm sure it was very very heartfelt by many that knew him.
Oh yeah, 110%.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching that video. Worm put together an entire tribute video of all of Joker's paint schemes that he's run for all different leagues, and it was an emotional video. He did a fantastic job. Obviously, IVRL being the main home league for Joker, along with ours, and it was really nice of him to do that. And
All right,
then
on to the
moving
next.
on. Yeah, we went back to back with one off track. That the second one was the only appearance of the Charlotte Roval, which was a really interesting one. Definitely a tough technical track. The only Roval that we have in NASCAR Heat 5 right now. That one was another blowout we saw. Pete, you can tell us about that one. I remember you were on the call for that one for sure.
Yeah, that was. eSpark put it pretty much. They put it all together. It didn't really seem like they were going to do anything wrong. Although that first lap where the 16 kind of cut the track and stopped dead center in the middle of the first chicane. I thought that was just going to be a big pile up right there, but some guys out there with some great track awareness, able to get around them. The race moved on. But in the end, yeah, eSpark got it all together, put max points on the board, and they're at that point, we thought, man, nobody's going to be able to touch what they had amassed. But they ended up coming up just shy in the points as far as they go. And they're going to be in round 3 as well. We'll be talking about them shortly, but eSpark absolutely got it done.
Absolutely, and that's a track where mistakes are just inevitable. I mean, it's such a technical and difficult track with on and off the Charlotte oval banking and the chicanes, just nothing like it on any of the other road courses. So we did see mistakes from a lot of people, but it was eSpark that really put it together and outlasted them with the efforts of Fluffy, Scott Hall, Asylums, a lot of people getting a lot of points for them, and the other charge being by Zachary, 7007, Colin Deuce, Simoleons. But yeah, it was just, I think Zachary put it the best. He just said, we just got outrun. And that was just plain and simple. And the mistakes, which team was going to just make less. You knew that they were inevitable, but just minimizing. And then
eSpark is definitely one of those teams that is they're just stacked from 1st through 10th. There isn't a bad driver in their roster, and I foresee eSpark going pretty far.
Absolutely, yeah. We can't wait to see what they have in store. And at that time, I believe they were close to, if not, actually, let me check on that. They had moved themselves into 1st position on the leaderboard at that time, and they were sitting there grinding their teeth, waiting to see that final race go down, whether they were going to get a free pass to the round of short track. And let's just go right into that one. That was the Shake and Bake Mountain Dew Southern Series, and you want to talk about blowouts? This was, we kind of expected that because it was the number 2 seed against the last seed in the tournament for the second round. So we kind of expected maybe this is a blowout, but there's always surprises. You never know what's going to happen. And Ford, what did you think about that race?
Oh my goodness! Sorry, I was reading chat. They got me kind of cracking up. Talking about frog legs and everything. Oh man, yeah, that was absolutely a good race. Blowout, not. I like watching Shake and Bake go around the track, no matter if it's making all left turns or making left and right turns. They have some, just running into running in their race Thursday night, man, they got some very competitive drivers in there, and I'm glad to be running with them on Thursday nights. I can't wait to see whether they can do on the super speedways.
Absolutely. I think, talk about competitive drivers. We saw Rangers go in there, and he had already run for the cycle in the first round. He didn't quite get it this time, but 58 points, so close, finishing second or third, or actually, sorry, fourth in stage one. But he really killed it out there. He got a ton of points, and we can't wait to see what he, along with others like Tom and Kyle Fan, can do in the next round. But yeah, shout out to those Mountain Dew Southern Series guys like PTH, the GOAT, and KFB 18, Punisher. Those guys fought very valiantly. They knew they were very stacked against, just with the amount of talent that Shake and Bake had to offer, and it became right from the get-go immediate. But some of those guys that scored the most points for their team, they were tangling with those Shake and Bake drivers. It was pretty awesome to see them stick it out. And but yeah, in the end, we did see Shake and Bake get the bye. They scored 411 points. The Mountain Dew Southern Series 233, and even more notable than that, Shake and Bake was the only team to score more than 400 points in that round. We saw several teams score above the 400 mark in round one, but not in round two, just once. And so, that just attests to their performance, and it was awesome. And speaking of the final tally, yeah, we had Shake and Bake with 411, and that gave them the bye. So they got a free pass to the round of short track. Almost said road courses again. And we will not see them in round three. Yeah, right. Yeah, we saw them move on. So we will not. There's the only team that we will not see in this upcoming round, and they were followed by East Park with 383, American Ethanol 381, Thursday Night Thunder, surprising fourth place 377. Then you had No Name Racing League fell to fifth 359, and then we had ENEA 333, IVRL kind of mid pack 324, OMA 315. And then we had North American Online Racing with the lowest score, raw score of 292. And then we had Carolina Racing League getting that win by forfeit. So they got the 10th seed. And then guess what, guys? We're going to see SXRL, Sevy's Xbox Racing League, the guys that we saw get the bye in the first round. We haven't seen them in a while. And we're going to see them back in action in this third round. So, Pete, what do you think these guys got? Do you think that, that round of rest kind of, grew some rust, or do you think these guys have used all that time to practice and will come firing right off?
I definitely think they've used the time to practice, and I'm looking forward to seeing them back on track. They better hope that they're rested up enough, because there's going to be a lot of give and take coming up in these super speedway races. A little bit more give, I think, than there's going to be take, because as I mentioned earlier, these guys are going to be more off the throttle at Daytona and Talladega than they are on, if they're going to do it correctly. But man, I'm hoping for I'm hoping to see SXRL come out. They're going to have a good draw, I believe. But man, you can't go wrong with the entire round with any of the teams that are moving on.
Absolutely, and there's a reason why they're going to be called the Elite 11, just because all of these teams are fantastic. And just before, we're going to announce the format here in just a second, but just before we get to that, I just want to take a brief moment, because this is pretty cool and pretty interesting. We got the time in between the rounds to take a look at stats, because I know a lot of guys out there, our stats guys. Shout out to Jerem Dohar. I know he loves these recap shows, and he actually inspired me to do this. We were talking about, who were the top performers in the tournament, individual. We spent a lot of time and dedication to leagues, how do the leagues stack up? Who can be the best team in the group? But just for a moment, let's talk about individual drivers and how they stacked up. We took a look at top 50 drivers through the first 2 rounds. Now, these are a little skewed. I will post an updated version of this when SXRL takes their second race, because those drivers hadn't had the opportunity to race again. But for the other 20 teams that were in the second round, we got to look at who were the top drivers. And just this top 10, NNR Asbill running for the cycle in both races, only driver to get max points so far, sitting at 120. Then you got ENEA Shotgun and Rangers tied for second at 118. These guys only given up 2 points in the first two. I mean, that's just phenomenal. And then you got guys like Fluffy, Hurricane Lane, Trippy Trick, More Smoke, myself, Tom Flitty, and E-Dog. So, do any of those names surprise you, Pete?
No, not at all. You're talking about guys that I actually deal with pretty often. I was just talking to Tom the other day about a couple things, and Shotgun. When he ran all the way for ENEA in the first race, he put that 24 out front. He was formerly an NNR driver that actually went his own way, started up his own league. He's got a lot going for him. Asbill, I told you while we were watching those recaps during the NNR Xfinity and truck races, I got tired of interviewing the guy. So, all joking. No, I'm just joking. But no, that a great top 10, and no, I'm not surprised one bit.
Absolutely, and I will post the full results. So, those of you following in our Discord, you'll be able to see the full top 50 results and where your drivers stack up. But the two just main takeaways I saw from this is, one, of the teams that have competed in both rounds, only one of them did not get a driver in the top 50 list. So that's crazy to have that many leagues compete, win or lose, and they have at least one of their drivers participate and get in the top 50 of all. We had 200 drivers compete in this round. So, I mean, that's just crazy to me. And the second thing I wanted to point, or going along with that first, is if you're wondering, how close was that last team to getting a driver on here? He missed it by 1 point. Their top driver, just 1 point. So, you could throw it in there. Hey, top 51 drivers, we're all here. So that's just crazy to me. A lot of names don't surprise you, but when you're taking a look at this list, some of them surprised me. I mean, I Pete, you've been in this community a lot longer than I have, but some of these names. I mean, going down through the list, maybe it's Mitzcraft, Zachary, Thought Crane, Expert Toaster, Mark the Fat Shark. I mean, guys like Geico Gamer and Colin Dew, Casey Kane. I mean, some of these guys you may have heard of, some of them maybe not. I mean, it's just crazy how many leagues and how many great drivers there have been in this tournament so far.
No, absolutely. And
I think those
trying to put a cap on that. If you're listening to the broadcasters as they go on and on, if you're hearing names, and I can hear Mark the Fat Shark ringing in my head every single time that I'm Rick James would shout it out. I mean, if you're hearing certain names over and over and over again, it means that they're doing something. They're up front. They're in the top 5, rounding out the top 10 or something like that. Those are the guys that are putting points up consistently. Those are the guys that are going to end up on some kind of a stat sheet as doing something great during the tournament.
Absolutely. And Ford, you had something?
Yeah, I was about to say, some of those names that you listed off, I mean, I'm not surprised because, I've ran, Zachary, he's really good. Mark the Fat Shark, he's giving me a bump and run a time or two. They're really good guys, and I'm glad to see them on that list. So it's no surprise to me that they're up there on that list.
Absolutely. And, the other thing is let's talk about how competitive this list is. We talk about Asbill at the lead there with max points, but let's talk about number 50 with 80 points. So if you're thinking out there, 80, how does that compare? What does that mean? Well, the winner in at the end of the race in stage 3 gets 40 points. So, not counting stage points, I mean, that's how many points they've had to accumulate in both races just to get on this board. So, I mean, it's just outstanding to see that many leagues represented. The other thing I wanted to point out real quick before we get into the next thing is that only 5 league owners made this list. And I don't want to toot my own horn. I'm the only league owner that made the first half of the list. But just to see not only drivers but league owners make the list, which is really cool because, from my perspective, and I know a lot of others share this opinion with me, is that it's really hard to run a league, organize your drivers, get scheduled, and run well. So, I mean, to see league owners on this list, that's awesome. And I'm proud to be among the others that have been fantastic all tournament. So, congrats to everyone. And yes, when we have the SXRL get in there, we'll get their drivers a chance to make the list. I'll publish a whole top 50 for everyone to see, and I might keep it up, or maybe keep up some different stats as we go along. Be pretty fun. But now comes the time that everybody, I'm sure, has been waiting for. They're saying, get on with it. Well, let's talk about round 3, Pete. Let's talk format. Let's talk rules. Let's get this thing going. So, as you mentioned, you talked about 2 different tracks. We only have 2 instead of 6 like we've had the last 2 rounds. So, not a big selection, but as you mentioned earlier on, this is going to be a different type of racing. Super speedways brings a big challenge. So, as far as race specifics go, we are running the day races, equal mileage. I believe they are 250 laps apiece. Or 250 miles apiece. Sorry, no, I don't think anyone would want.
Hold on. I want to talk about my contract here.
Yeah. Right. 250 miles apiece because they're both 500-mile races. Going to be a decent length race, so it's not just going to be these short sprints. It's not going to be like a Bud shootout of old, but the main rule that we're going to be talking about the whole round, and people are going to get sick of hearing it. We talked about course cutting in the road course as well. The main rule is going to be the yellow line rule, and this applies to a lot of different things. It applies to passing underneath the yellow line. Obviously, that will be not allowed, and how strictly we're going to be about it, and then also. We saw this in the real life truck race not too long ago. That rule also applies to forcing someone down to the line. So we saw NASCAR actually strip a driver of a race win because they forced the driver below the yellow line to win the race. So, we're going to be looking for that as well. So, we're asking all the drivers to be careful, make sure you know that rule. And that's really the only, as far as an official standpoint, it's going to be a little easier on us because that's the main, different rule that applies to the super speedways. Obviously, there's going to be, draft is going to be key, and we're going to be watching for, drivers, and how they react. I mean, we don't want to see people intentionally slowing people down and going nuts. There's obviously going to be fuel saving and strategy, but we want to see some good clean racing, some battles, some high side action. So, but the main thing that probably everyone's interested in is if you take a look at the bracket, we have 5 races, so 5 people are going to win a spot and join Shake and Bake to form 6 teams of the 8 positions to get into the next round. So, Pete, that leaves 2 spots. There's 2 more spots to fill. They're wild card spots. So how are we going to fill them? Well, we wanted, a lot of people were calling for a race. We thought, maybe we award it by points. Maybe we award it some other way. But fans and drivers want to race, want to see a race. So we will be having a special race after the 5 races that make up round 3, and it will be the wild card race. It will feature 5 drivers from each of the 5 teams that have lost in round 3. So there will be 25 people in the field, and we're going to run a normal 50% race, stages, all that, just like we've ran in all the other races. But we're going along with the theme of super speedways and the theme of showing off track that NASCAR Heat has to offer. We'll be racing at Michigan. How about that?
There you go.
So 25 drivers, 1 race, Michigan. Whichever team scores the most points in that round or in that race is going to have that second chance, and they're going to win the wild card. And that team is going to move on, and they're going to face the bye team. So if you look on the bracket, that wild card position that will be facing Shake and Bake will be that spot. So then that leaves the other spot. Well, how is that one going to be filled? Well, in going along with, true wild card, we see, this happen in many other sports, and to shake things up just a little bit more and make these interesting, going along with also all-star race formats and all kinds, we decided that the second wild card spot is going to be voted on by you guys. So we will be hosting a vote in the Discord from all the remaining drivers and teams that have invested all their time in the tournament. And any team that has been involved in the tournament, proviso, that hasn't received an unsportsmanlike penalty will be eligible. So teams that were eliminated in round 1, round 2, round 3, any of those teams that were eliminated can be voted on by you. We'll have a 1-day vote, 24-hour vote. We'll close the polls at the end, and whichever team gets the most votes, and we'll post a full list of those that have been eliminated that haven't received an unsportsmanlike penalty, and whichever team gets the most votes, they will face the top team they'll face the not top team, but the team at the bottom of the bracket to balance it out. So whoever ends up winning the eSpark race will move on to, or the eSpark OMA race will face that team. So a little bit of a twist. What do you think, Pete?
That sounds great. I mean, I've seen some interest from guys out there in chat. Shotgun saying that's going to be really interesting. Saw another one a little bit higher up saying it's going to be a lot of fun as well. So, yeah, guys, go on, get in your Discord if you haven't muted it already. If you're no longer part of it, get in there and cast your vote.
Yeah, we will. We'll announce exactly in the Discord. We'll announce the exact day and time. We'll try to do it a whole day, so polls will be open at midnight the one day, and then obviously 11:59 to close it. So we'll be announcing that shortly. We'll be preparing a list, but obviously, the teams that lose the wild card race and the third round have to be determined. So we won't conduct that until we have the full list. But if you guys have any questions about road course specifics, I know we did a little Q&A at the end of the broadcast last time, so we will do that again at the end of this broadcast. If you have a question, hold on to it, and once we finish these track drawings, we will answer some of your questions. So without wasting any time here, let's figure out where these 10 teams are going to be going, Pete.
All right, so let's go ahead and bring on up
Absolutely. So our first match, all the way at the top of the bracket, is going to be the winners. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick for you. Sorry, I had round two up. It was the winners of the bye from the first round versus American Ethanol. So SXRL versus American Ethanol. So this one's a very highly interesting match to a lot of people just because these are two highly ranked teams going at it, and we haven't seen SXRL in a while. So um, this will be our first match. So let's find
Sorry
out where
about
they're
that,
going.
guys. Yeah, when I switched when I switched over to my actual screen, it kind of cut my audio out and kept y'all going. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, 3 Daytona 500s, 2 Geico at Talladega, and 1 Alabama 500 also at Dega. All races have been verified, same distance, same mileage, same amount of laps, nothing extra, nothing special. So they heard you. I apologize. Who were the first two teams?
That is SXRL and American Ethanol.
All right, so SXRL, American Ethanol, definitely. I know a whole lot about one of the teams, and I know that the SXRL is very stacked. So this is going to be a great race. Go ahead and find out where we're going. Survey says they're going to the Geico 500 at Dega.
Geico
That's your final
500
answer?
at Dega.
That is my final answer.
All
I'm
right.
going to
Well, that
lock
one
it
is
in,
definitely
slap it
gonna
in,
be
whatever
fun.
I got to do to get it in there.
Sure you
And
don't want to phone a friend?
what right? What a great track to go to for these two teams. You know, you talked about both of you guys actually agreed on Talladega being competitive with how wide open, and a lot of people talking about this to be the match to watch. So what a great place to be. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be an amazing race. I mean, you think about some of the guys that are in there and the equipment that they raced on, the talent on both sides. They didn't make it this far for nothing. That's gonna be awesome.
Absolutely, and especially, we haven't seen SXRL in a while. So have they spent the whole time practicing? Have they kind of relaxed for a little bit? We'll see. But without let's keep it rolling here. The next match is going to be North American Online Racing versus Thursday Night Thunder. Let's find out where they're going.
All right, let's see. And the Wheel of Doom is
TNT.
illumin. And we're going to also Geico 500 at Dega.
How about that? Back to back Geico 500 at Talladega. Two awesome matches. Same track. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. So Talladega
COT
Geico
Tom, you
500
ready?
is off the list. There
Yep.
we go. So following matches, you guys know what to pick from now. Next match we have up on the board, International Virtual Racing League, IVRL versus Carolina Racing League. Where are they going, Pete?
All right, let's see.
Here you
Spinning,
go, Randy.
spinning, spinning. Spinning again. Geico came up again. I tell you, this
Oh boy.
RNG. All right, one
There
second.
we go. We could
Let's try it
also
again.
remove them from the list. We could do that too.
Yeah, I might have to. I tell
Yeah,
you.
you're gonna have
Yeah.
to.
All right, now here we go. All right, so they got the last Dega. So pretty much everybody else is going to be Daytona. So
Alright,
they got
Alabama
the Alabama
500.
500 at Dega.
That just finishes it out for us. So just for you guys keeping track at home. So IVRL and Carolina Racing League will be doing the Alabama 500 at Talladega, which means ENEA versus NNR will be going to the Daytona 500. So that is awesome for them. Cannot wait to see that. And then finally, capping it off, OMA versus Filter Time Esport also will be going to the Daytona 500. So two awesome matches at that track as well. Pete, I'm excited. I know Ford, you're just as excited as I am. What are you guys looking forward to the most at this round?
Dega.
Matty Ice in the chat. I don't know if you see him, but he's like, "You got Dega, you got Dega, you got Dega." Oh no, I know the IBRL guys. They're not afraid to run high.
And here we go, round
so
2.
I expect that race to be some high line racing. These other matchups, it's going to be it's super speedways. It's going to be anybody's game, but they're going to dust off those steering wheels. And I know Randy is scheduling a practice tonight with his guys, since they know where they're going. So hopefully the others are going to too.
Never too early to get the practice going. I know everyone is excited for this one now. Now's the time of the broadcast. If you guys have a question at home about the round in general, how everything's going to work, specifics on the tracks, rules, yellow line rule, get those questions in now. It's better to ask us now, so because you may have a question that a lot of people may have, and we can answer it once instead of answering it just a bunch of times. I know Ford and I have been busy making sure everything goes smoothly, so it just makes it easier on us to get those questions answered now. But it's going to be pretty straightforward. I think everyone knows the stakes. A bid to the round of 8 is on the line, and Pete, there's no more funny business after this. After we get through this round, it's pretty straightforward from here. 8-4-2. No more buys, no more craziness. It's going to be a straightforward battle of the bracket.
Yeah, we'll have to see who's going to be able to get past the last unlucky 13 races that are remaining and become that sole winner. It's going to be a lot of fun. So how about it out there in chat? Slide Job wants to know if any of y'all have any questions about the upcoming round, about any of the rules, the regulations. Hopefully all that server issue is behind us. Dega and Daytona can be kind of notorious for that because there's so many people in a very, very close proximity. Any questions for either Slide Job or Ford Tough? After that, we're going to bring out the what the new logo is going to be. I've already got the music going. That's going to introduce the races that'll be coming up. But what say y'all? Any questions out there for these guys?
And while they're bringing those questions in, you brought up a good point about lag. We've seen the servers have issues. We have rules in place now that handle that. But going along with that, one other proviso we forgot to mention for this round, in the first couple rounds, we allowed teams to decide whether they wanted to go with custom schemes or the regular in-game schemes, and just for the benefit of reducing lag and issues, with that as much as possible, especially about how glitchy the plate tracks are in general. We will be requiring all teams to race regular in-game cars. There's been, multiple reports that the in-game cars cause less lag in general. So we will be, asking teams to use those just in an effort to reduce the chance of that being an issue. So make sure that when going about figuring out what cars you guys will be running, make sure you're choosing regular schemes.
All right, somebody actually just texted me a question indicating that you're going to be going down pit road. I assume we'll be dipping below the yellow line on the backstretch. If you accidentally advance your position, are you held accountable? And then also coming out of pit road, do we have to stay below the yellow line until the backstretch?
Absolutely. Two great questions. Yes. So one, we mentioned talking about the yellow line rule. Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. So if you go underneath the yellow line to advance your position in any way, whether you didn't mean to or not, other than, and this is the way the NASCAR rule is written, unless you're avoiding an accident. So say we come out of turn 4 and somebody gets loose and a bunch of people are wrecking and your only option is to go below the yellow line to avoid it, that's acceptable. However, if you get loose and you jump below the line and advance your position accidentally, or somebody checks up as you're accidentally pulling out of line, you will be held accountable, and all yellow line infractions are going to be dealt with. So, we will issue pass-through penalties if we see any of that going on. So, you're going to have to make sure that you are staying above that yellow line. And the second question was pit road entry and exit. So Daytona and Talladega, basically the similar conditions as far as this is concerned. So, entry, obviously, communication is big at some of these plate races you've seen in your league. So, we're going to ask that, if possible, that people can duck underneath the yellow line and back up to signal that they're pitting. And, if obviously if you're in the outside lane or it's just impossible to do so, that's fine. But drivers can enter the pit road from off of turn 4, and then so there's no other entry procedure from that. Just making sure that you're not running into cars and being safe with it. But yeah, the big rule is exit. So we are going to make sure that drivers stay on the apron all the way till the back stretch to avoid becoming into contact with full speed cars, and that'll be for both Talladega and Daytona.
All right, a couple people out there in chat saying, why doesn't Shake and Bake go against the fan vote? They've got the better seed.
Well, we figured that, it really didn't matter, but, just to give, because we don't know who the driver or the team is that's going to win. We don't know whether, it's a team that came from one of the other rounds or the round of threes could potentially be one of those that lose the wild card. So, we really don't have an answer for that, a great answer for that. And it's just, yeah.
All right. Anybody else out there, guys? Oh, while you go ahead and think it up, I'm gonna bring up the brand new Fast Family League decal or graphic that you'll see on every broadcaster's stream, whether it's me or Atlanta or Kid Dynamite or Eddie Kalegi or Wub, as y'all know him, or if it's Marty or whoever. So without further ado, yeah, here you go.
Let's bring out that bad boy, yeah.
So
I gotta give a
Family
shout
League
out.
Showdown Elite 11.
There it is. I want to give a shout out to I'm Rick James. He actually does a lot of our graphics for the tournament. He's responsible not only for the Fast Family League Showdown logo that you see there, even with the car silhouette in the background. He spent a ton of time on that one. We must have went through 100 different iterations just making it really nice looking, but he's behind all of these round logos, as well as a lot of the promos that you guys see for the races and the rosters. So, we are so appreciative to him for all the work he does. I know I can't do. Me and Ford, we're not graphics designers, but
I'm technically challenged.
Yeah, right. But he does a fantastic job. So thank you to him for all of the time and work he's dedicated. But yeah, we are now in the Elite 11. So cannot wait.
Like a new superhero group. The
Elite 11. Think about it, guys. We're breaking it down from 42 different teams down to 11. So if you've made it this far, you absolutely deserve it. You've gone from Vegas and Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, all the tracks like that, a lot of the cookie cutter tracks, to complete non-cookie cutter tracks all across the country and Canada, to now, two of the fastest super speedways there are, Daytona and Talladega. Both are phenomenal tracks, going to be, phenomenal races to call no matter no matter who you are. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. So yeah, the Elite 11. That's what y'all will be known by as we get into the races. And do we have any kind of a timetable for our first race?
So we're currently working with the teams to get those scheduled as quick as possible. I have two of them have already been confirmed to me, starting this upcoming weekend. We gave the teams anywhere from tomorrow all the way till the end of next week to figure out a day and a time. So we'll get the schedule out as quick as possible. But yeah, Pete, you mentioned it. You know, we started this whole tournament with including subs, over 500 drivers. I mean, that's just a phenomenal amount of drivers. That's absolutely crazy. Never been done before. And then now we're only down to 110. Still a lot, but just the amount of talent that we've had the pleasure of viewing over the past, couple of weeks here, almost a month now. It's absolutely intense. So, we're super happy, and we want to thank all the teams and owners that have put up with, us and the scheduling and all that. It's been a journey, but these 11 teams have absolutely earned where they are, and they are some of the faster leagues out there. But it's going to be cool. And one other thing, if you're still with us, we appreciate you, and for as a little reward for being here with us still, I'll give you a hint. A lot of people are asking, you guys haven't revealed anything about anything after the short track round. Everyone kind of anticipates what's going to happen in the short track round, but what's going on after that? What kind of tracks do we go into? And the hint I'm going to give you tonight is with the Super Speedway round, we're hitting our second crown jewel race. So we saw Charlotte and the Coke 600 ran in round 1, and then here in round 3, we're going to see the Daytona 500 being the second crown jewel race. My hint to you guys is from this point on, we will see the other 2 crown jewel races at some point. I'm not going to reveal too much, but as a reward for staying with us, that's your hint. We will see the other 2 crown jewel races at some point. So there you go.
There you go. If you know your NASCAR history, or if you keep up with that, and a couple of the older heads, they may be able to get that right off the bat. I got it. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of y'all should as well. Think about your very, very recent history, and you'll have at least one of those answers. But Ford, man, a lot of information out there tonight. A great recap. Great job by you guys. Slide Job's been going on, and you've kept up with a lot of the guys out there in chat. What do you think here, Guy?
I don't know. More than that, Kate doesn't want me to give a politician's answer. I thought about putting on some Donald Trump, but going on to this race, like you said, going from over 500 drivers to the drivers and teams that we have left. I mean, it's been a great run, and I can't wait to see it go all the way to crowning champ. This trophy is going to look good with somebody's name on it and sitting in their mantle. But I can't wait to see what all these guys do at the Super Speedway. And all these guys in the chat, we appreciate them, being with us, asking the questions. I'm pretty sure there's going to become some questions along the way. Feel free to reach out to me or Slide Job. We'll answer it the best way we can. But yeah, I'm very excited, to be calling these races. Like you said, I think this weekend, Slide, we're going to be back at it. So
absolutely, yeah, we've got a couple of races going on this next coming weekend here for sure, and we'll have the details on the other 3 as we get them. But yeah, we'll definitely be seeing some awesome action this coming round. It's gonna be fantastic. Cannot wait for it, and good luck to all 10 teams competing in this round, and those that are competing in the wild card, and those eligible.
Yeah, I can't wait to see who they vote for.
Yeah, yeah.
Who they bring back.
It's gonna be cool. I mean, you never know. We've seen some crazier things happen. That wild card could go all the way. We don't know. So, maybe they got the wrong matchup. They had a bad day. Anything could have happened then. You bring it back, go against one of the tougher seeds, if not the toughest seed. We'll see what happens. But, it'll be awesome. I can't wait.
So make sure you get in Discord and vote. Don't vote twice. Just vote once.
All right there, Trump. I tell you. But also, guys, make sure you keep up with Fast Family on their Twitter. And I was telling Slide Job just before we went on the air, if you scroll down underneath the everything that's been going on here with the stream, I added a whole bunch of page links to my chat. So, as HD would say, the links are down below or whatever. The links are truly down below. Now you can keep up with me on Twitter. You keep up with NNR on Facebook and the webpage. Keep up with eSparks Twitter. Fast Family Twitter, American Ethanol's Twitter, the new Shake and Bake, their information, Turned Down for What. I mean, there's a whole lot of new additions that were made. Just slide on down on the channel and follow. Make sure you follow. It'll only keep you in the know as things continue to progress. Excuse me. For these last 12 or 13 races. So, Slide Job, any final thoughts, sir?
We got 13 races left here to finish it off. I'm just really appreciative for everyone that's helped us out so far. And you mentioned it. If you're on Pete's stream and you haven't already followed him, please give him a follow, subscribe. He's been an awesome broadcaster, has dedicated a ton of time. And if you're looking for those links, I even checked to find them myself to make sure I'm following all those awesome leagues and groups out there. All you got to do is hit the About tab, and they're all down there. And, we didn't get a chance to mention it during our race with all the lag issues that we had, but Fast Family Racing League is definitely a league to check out. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you have. We have a YouTube where we have all of our commentated races that were streamed up there, so you can check those out. Follow us on any of the social media platforms. If you're on Facebook, it's just Fast Family Racing League. If you're on Instagram, Fast Family Racing League. If you're on Twitter, Fast Family _RL. Check us out, or you can just look at the link for Pete. We're actually looking for drivers coming up here in a couple of weeks. We're starting our fourth season. So if you're looking for a preset league to join, and you've heard of us through the tournament, come check us out. Hit me up about that, or Ford Tough, or any one of those social media platforms. We'd love to have you.
Worm Rider says I'm charging you for advertising. So, all right. That just means that when all this is said and done, you've got to gift 10 subscriptions to my channel when it's all said and done. That's my charge. No, I'm just kidding. But like Slide Job just said, you can follow all those communities down below. Of course, Mr. Slide Job 1996 on Twitter, at ForTough82. Also on Twitter, me, Repeat 1975, and of course, Fast_Family RL Racing. Look, guys, it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that we got this done, got it in, got a whole lot of information, getting ready to go for Daytona and Talladega. I'm looking forward to the schedules when everybody's going to get up, get ready, and get gone. Curious to see who I'm going to end up in the booth with for the race or two that I'm going to have the honor of broadcasting for. But again, as some of y'all out there say, please stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask, avoid big packs of people. Let's get this whole COVID thing under control so we can go back and meet up at a track again. yeah, been another broadcast of the Fast Family League Showdown. I will catch you somewhere around the track. Good night, ladies and gents.